Welcome back to Fly Tying Fridays. On this episode, we're going to show you my way of tying a squirmy wormy. I'm going to be using this size 10 curved scud hook with an oversized bead on there. This one's going to be a UV green. Using an oversized bead really does help get the squirmy wormy material in. The body of this is going to obviously be squirmy wormy. I'm going to do this one in some glow bug. Get it glowing nice and good in there. I like to use UV beads on most of my wormy patterns. It does help to size the bead up like I had mentioned. Makes it easier to get that worm in there. I like to use UV beads on most of my patterns. It does help get some strikes. It gets that extra little light glare under the water. Go ahead and try them out. Try out some different colors. Figure out what works in your area. Let's start tying, and I encourage you, tie yours while I walk you through it. Again, I'm no professional, but that should make it a little easier for you to learn a skill every fly fisherman should at least try. By now, you should know how to put your hook in your vise, so we'll go ahead and start there now. Thread I'm going to be using on this one is just going to be some UV green. Go ahead and start it as normal. Give it a couple wraps forward, a couple wraps back to lock it in. Trim off that excess up there. Now we're going to go ahead and get our squirmy material, and we're going to cut it in half. Get that wormy a little bit wet, and then take your bobbin threader and stick that up through the bead. This is going to be why we're using the oversized bead. Makes this process a little easier. Just get a nice little tip in there. And now if you stretch this as you're pulling it through, it will actually go a lot easier into there. Then take it off your bobbin threader. Now I like to space this about a third of it in the front, 2/3 to the back. And then just take that back end, and you can hold it back there, or if you have a material holder, just tuck it back out of the way. If you tuck it on the side like that, it's going to make it so that when you wrap it to the back, it's actually going to hold the tail right off the back end of that hook. So now we're just going to take gentle wraps, because this squirmy wormy material is gentle, fragile, delicate, whatever you want to call it. We're just going to take some easy wraps on back here and lock it in there. So then we're going to take that other section that we had. We're just going to take the tip and just tie that tip in there at the back. We're going to use this to make our body. And just take that and just kind of wrap it back up towards the head. And get your bead all the way back up snug. Then take that piece that we just tied in, and we're just going to do these even wraps. Now to get good even wraps, I like to use my thumb in the front, my pointer finger or index in the back. And that just, as you wrap it, you can go loose. You don't want to pull these tight. You want them to have some nice shape to them. So I just alternate your fingers so that you can keep it held in place, so you don't lose that uniform size that you're going for. When you get up to the front here, go ahead and do a tight wrap. Not super tight, but just enough to hide it. And then we're going to lock that wormy material in there. Couple wraps in front, couple wraps behind. Trim off your excess. Get your whip finishing tool, and just go ahead and give yourself 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 good wraps. Make sure that head of the worm stays not in your finish loop. Pull that a little snug. You don't want to go too snug on that, because it will rip right through that silicone. Snip off your excess up here. And you've got yourself a squirmy wormy. If you've enjoyed this video or learned something new, please subscribe down below. I will have a new walkthrough for a different fly every Friday, starting with some more of these basic patterns to help learn the different techniques that will come all together on more difficult flies. If you have enjoyed this video or learned something new, please subscribe down below. I will have a walkthrough for a different fly every Friday. starting with some basic patterns to help learn different techniques that will all come together in more difficult flies down the road. Thank you again for watching. Comment down below if you can guess what we're tying next week. Here's a hint. The fly I am tying at the end of this video is the fly we will be tying in the coming week. Can you find out what it is?